Hello, Curious. First, we have a question for you. Tell me, who do you think little boys usually want to be when they grow up? Well, we're pretty sure that the first thing comes to mind is maybe a policeman, a firefighter, or a football player. But as it turns out, there are exceptions to this rule. And so, for example, Anthony Loffredo, who comes from France, dreamed from his childhood to become an alien. Yes, and he realized his plans, as you can see the effects from his metamorphosis in the pictures. And the man has reworked his body to the extreme. But is he ultimately satisfied with such an effect? And what crazy modifications has he gone through? And which one was almost impossible to make? What is Mr. Loffredo planning to do with his next image? And is it possible that he has a female counterpart? Stay with us until the very end to get to know the history of the black alien. And if you are on this channel for the first time, make sure you click on the subscription button and don't forget to leave a thumbs up. His body is completely tattooed black. Black tattoos cover his face, and there are so many of them, and even in his eyeballs. And then his tongue is divided into two parts so that it looks like a lizard. Moreover, his whole head resembles a reptile's skull because metal implants have been placed under the skin of the forehead and on the cheeks. However, the list of body modifications of the 32-year-old Anthony Loffredo does not end there. He also decided to make a lightning cuts on his cheek, or to place piercings in the forehead and chin, which in the face of all of these body changes was probably the least invasive procedure. In turn, the most extreme ones are undoubtedly the removal of ears or a part of the upper lip, which was, by the way, making it difficult for him to speak. However, as he himself stated, this is not a problem for him. Mr. Loffredo also did not consider removing the tip of his nose for a long time, although actually performing this operation caused him a lot of trouble. This is because in France, no surgeon would do it, and because it's against the law. So the man found a clinic in Spain, underwent the procedure without any problems, and finally fulfilled his dreams of giving his face an even more extraterrestrial appearance. His adventures with body transformations began when he was 24, but as he himself pointed out in one of the interviews, he was fascinated by the modification of the human body from an early age. As a child, he was especially interested in extraterrestrial life forms, and his obsession was so great that he finally decided to become one of them. However, he told his family and friends many years ago that he would like to become an alien. Probably none of them thought that he would undergo such a shocking treatment to achieve this goal. Anthony Loffredo, however, was consistent. A project called Black Alien was born in his head, and then it was time to gradually transform into an alien. But before he went a long way for achieving his extreme look, he looked like this. On a daily basis, he worked as a bodyguard in one of the music clubs, and when his transformation into an alien from a foreign planet began, he quickly gained great popularity on Instagram and finally abandoned his current job to become a star on social media. At the moment, the number of his fans reaches almost 400,000, and in his posts, Loffredo regularly reports on all of the changes he makes to his body. People's reactions can be extreme. Some advise him to see a psychologist, while others praise him for the beauty. For Anthony, however, only one person's opinion is really important, and that is his mother. She, on the other hand, allegedly supports and does not judge her son, although he has a rather unusual passion. Sometimes he also appears in his Instagram photos, and under one of them you can read the quote, "Mom says she has no nightmares when she looks at me, and sometimes she manages to bring a smile to his face. And that's the only one thing, one of my greatest victories." The man also noted that he did not regret any surgery that he had undergone. He admitted that since he started this project, he has become happy, and he has also become truly obsessed with becoming 100% alien. And he added that so far, he has only made 20% of the planned modifications, and that his body is under constant construction. What is he planning to do in the future? Well, his dream is to modify his arms, legs, and fingers, and the back of his head. And although it is hard to imagine, he would also like to remove the skin from there and replace it with metal. Well, we are curious about the effects on such actions, but we'll just have to wait for a while for that. The case of Anthony Loffredo is so original that it's actually hard to find another person who, like him, decided to make a series of such extreme body changes. Although there are a few examples of people who reached at least half of the way. One of them is Sprague, who became famous a few years ago because he decided to become a human lizard. And he was a real precursor of such procedures such as the surgical separation of the tongue into two parts and the implantation of the subcutaneous horns. But apart from that, he also decided to file his teeth or cover his whole body with tattoos that look like green scales. His career flourished in a time when social media wasn't ubiquitous yet, and yet he became immensely popular thanks to circus performances. He showed not only his unusual appearance, but he's also known for impressive acrobatics and tricks such as swallowing swords. Besides, he loved to shock people and won the Guinness World Record in such a surprising category as the greatest possible weight lifted on the ear. And imagine that he lifted a 16-kilogram barrel filled with water. And we, following the trail of shocking transformations, must mention the Mexican woman who was entered in the Book of Records as the woman who made the most modifications in her body. At first glance, Maria Jose Cristerna might be seen, at least in part, to be a female counterpart of Anthony Loffredo. However, it is worth noting that when she was creating such an image, she was not driven by an obsession with visitors from other planets, but by a fascination with vampires. Above all, the history of her transformation has a lot to do with many difficult experiences that she experienced in her life, which we will tell you about in a moment. Almost every inch of Maria Cristerna's body is covered in tattoos. On her forehead and the temples are the horns made by placing titanium implants under the skin. In addition, her face is adorned with many piercings, and the woman has also opted for canine-shaped dental implants to resemble an attribute of the famous Dracula. Interestingly enough, all of these elements on her body have their own meanings. The drawings on the skin symbolize freedom and are an image of her fantasy. The woman decided to tattoo her skin in almost 100% after she ended her long marriage filled with fear, quarrels, and violence. Only after that she could feel the aforementioned freedom, and tattoos were a reflection of her feelings. Moving on, the horns represent strength and, interestingly enough, were implanted without the use of anesthesia. The fangs, on the other hand, are a result of a fascination with vampires. The unusual appearance of Maria may indeed arouse fear in some, but these are only appearances because the woman vampire is primarily a mother of 4 children, as well as a real authority in her hometown. As a law school graduate, she advises others on these topics and, above all, helps women who are victims of domestic violence. Mrs. Cristerna appears frequently in documentaries and is a guest on many TV stations. And her appearance has brought a great fame. In Mexico, she's treated like a real celebrity, and people approach her and take pictures of themselves all the time with her, and some people directly ask her if she's a real vampire. In the interviews she gives, you can hear that she does not regret any modifications of her body. On top of that, her transformation is not complete yet, as she plans to make some more titanium horns on her head. And she also noted that experiments with her appearance are for her like a search for the limit of extremes, but also an expression of the canons of beauty. Let us know what you think about people who decide to make extreme body modifications. Does this appearance of a black alien or female vampire shock you? Or maybe you have heard of other cases of this type? We're waiting for your comments and opinions. And also, don't forget about the subscription and a thumbs up by clicking on the little bell button. And we'll be coming back to you soon with other episodes with our wow effect. So see you guys later.